The observation deck of the Valiant Dawn hummed with the usual cacophony of interstellar commerce. Captain Mira stood before the panoramic viewport, her weathered explorer's hat perched at its customary angle, slightly askew, brim shadowing her eyes. She'd worn that hat through 12 planetary surveys, 2 diplomatic incidents, and 1 near-fatal encounter with a sentient gas cloud. It was more than fabric and thread. It was her signature. Behind her, the metallic click of talons on steel announced Kor's arrival. "Captain," the Vaxian warrior growled, his triple-jointed legs carrying his massive frame with predatory grace. "The delegation awaits your—" He paused, mandibles clicking in what Mira had learned was confusion. "What is that gesture the younglings are performing?" Myra turned to follow his gaze. Through the transparent aluminum partition separating the crew quarters from the observation deck, 3 Vraxian cubs barely past their first molt stood in a rigid line. Each raised their primary manipulator appendage to their cranial ridges in perfect synchronization, holding the pose with trembling determination. "Oh no," Myra whispered. "Explain," Kor demanded, his sensory tendrils flaring orange a sign of agitation among his species. 2 cycles ago, Myra had made a grave miscalculation. The Vraxan cubs, orphaned by the Keshan Wars, had been brought aboard as part of a humanitarian or rather interspecies relief effort. They were curious, intelligent, and, unfortunately, extremely impressionable. When the youngest, barely knee-high to Mira, had timidly approached her in the cargo bay, she'd done what came naturally to any Earthborn officer. She tipped her hat in greeting. The cubs had gone absolutely feral with fascination. Within hours, they'd somehow acquired 3 makeshift hats constructed from ration containers, medical gauze, and what Mira suspected was part of Engineer Chen's missing tool belt. But the hats weren't the problem. The problem was what the cubs thought the gesture meant. "It's a salute," Myra said weakly. "A human gesture of respect." Kor's sensory tendrils cycled through confused purple. "A salute? But they are saluting the water dispenser." Indeed they were. As Mira watched in growing horror, the 3 cubs marched to the wall-mounted hydration unit, snapped to attention, and rendered perfect salutes. The dispenser, oblivious to the honor bestowed upon it, gurgled and dispensed exactly 250 milliliters of recycled water. "They think," Myra said slowly, "that you're supposed to salute everything you respect or acknowledge." "Everything?" "Everything." The evidence was damning. Over the next hour, Myra and Kor followed the cubs on their rounds. They saluted the navigation computer. They saluted the potted fern in the hydroponics bay, a gift from the Terran embassy. They saluted a surprised maintenance drone which beeped in confusion and rolled away. They even saluted the empty space where the captain's chair would be if this were the bridge, a gesture of such abstract thinking that Mira felt a mix of pride and despair. "This cannot continue," Kor rumbled. "The Vraxian High Command arrives in 3 days. If they witness cubs performing human rituals to furniture, it'll be a diplomatic incident," Myra finished. "They'll think we're indoctrinating them. Worse," Kor's mandibles clicked sharply. "They will think we're mocking them. That humans find our young so malleable, so easily influenced that we teach them nonsense to demonstrate our superiority." Myra's jaw tightened. The Vraxian people were proud, justifiably so. They'd survived extinction, rebuilt their civilization from scattered colony ships, and emerged as one of the most formidable warrior cultures in the known galaxy. But they were also deeply protective of their young, especially after the wars. The suggestion that humans were toying with orphan cubs would be problematic. "I'll fix this," Myra said. "How? I have no idea." The next morning, Myra gathered the 3 cubs in the observation deck. They stood at attention, their makeshift hats proudly displayed, tiny arms already rising toward their heads. She held up a hand. "At ease," she said, using the universal translator. The cubs relaxed fractionally, though their eyes, all 6 per cub, remained fixed on her with unsettling intensity. Myra removed her hat. The cubs gasped in unison. "This," she said, holding the hat before her, "is not a weapon, it's not a badge of rank, it's just ... Something I wear because it reminds me of home." She paused, searching for words that would translate properly. "The gesture, the salute, it's how humans show respect to those who've earned it. Leaders, heroes, those who protect others." The smallest cub chittered something. The translator crackled. "Water dispenser protects from thirst. Engineer drone protects from malfunctions. Are these not worthy of respect? Myra blinked. Then, despite everything, she smiled. You know what? You're absolutely right. Kor, observing from the doorway, made a choking sound. But, Myra continued, there are different ways to show respect. Humans salute. Your people perform the Corvish, the chest strike. She demonstrated, fist to sternum. Other species bow, or sing, or share food. The important thing isn't the gesture. It's the feeling behind it. The cubs processed this. Then the eldest spoke, his voice carrying the guttural resonance of his species. Captain wears hat, as symbol of journey. Cubs wear hats as symbol of learning. Is this ... acceptable? Something caught in Mira's throat. She knelt, bringing herself eye level with the young Vraxians. More than acceptable. It's an honor. When the Vraxian High Command arrived 3 days later, they found Captain Mira and the 3 cubs waiting in the docking bay. The cubs wore their improvised hats with pride. As the delegation's leader descended the ramp, the cubs didn't salute. Instead, they struck their small chests in the Corvish, the traditional Vraxian gesture of respect. The delegation leader stopped. His sensory tendrils flared brilliant gold joy, surprise, pride. He returned the gesture, then turned to Myra. You teach them our ways? They teach themselves, Myra replied. I just showed them that respect has many languages. Later, in the privacy of his quarters, Kor found Myra staring out at the stars. The cubs saluted the water dispenser again this morning, he said. Myra laughed. Did they? They saluted it, then they performed the Corvish. Then they bowed like the Centaurian ambassador taught them. He paused. Then they thanked it in 17 different languages. Sounds about right. Humans, Kor said, with something that might have been affection, are very strange. Myra tipped her hat. We do our best. And somewhere in the crew quarters, 3 small Vraxians saluted their reflection, practicing for the day they'd earn real hats and real reasons to wear them.